Moving on, Censor Board's most hated individual till date, and for all the good reasons. Anurag's dispute with the CBFC began way back with his first film, Punch. I think the relationship was meant to last this long, but hopefully not forever. On behalf of Tamil Studio, I wish to express my most sincere gratitude for his fearless fight against the CBFC and for establishing an environment of cinema as it is meant to be. Anurag's production company, which is managed by the powerhouse of Bollywood, Guneet, has successfully produced a number of box office hits starting from Udaan till Udta Punjab. We are highly appreciative of his collaborations with brilliant documentary filmmakers like Nisha Pahuja and Deepthi Kakar for their feature documentaries, The World Before Her and Katya Baz respectively. Anurag has also been extremely supportive of aspiring filmmakers in the independent genre, that these films are now being successfully released mainstream, aside from making a mark for India in international film circuits. I personally would like to invite Anurag to say a few words about his experience with the way things are in South, in Chennai particularly. And just before that, I would like to also make an announcement about the donation. கொஞ்ச நேரம் முன்னாடி அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணியிருந்தேன், வெளியே வந்து ஒரு டொனேஷன் பாக்ஸ் வச்சுருக்கோம். இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சூழலில் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு அமைப்பு கிடைக்கிறது வந்து நமக்கு ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். அது நடக்கணும் அப்படின்னாக்கா அதுக்கு வந்து உங்களோட உதவி கண்டிப்பாக தேவை. ஸோ போகிற வழியில் யாருக்கெல்லாம் எவ்வளோ கொடுக்கணும்னு இஷ்டம் இருக்கோ அவங்க வந்து டொனேஷன் பாக்ஸில் அது வந்து போகிறப்போ போட்டுட்டு போயிடலாம். இல்லை புக்ஸ் வாங்கணும்னு விருப்பப்படுறவங்க, சினிமா சம்மந்தப்பட்ட புக்ஸ் வாங்கணும்னு விருப்பப்படுறவங்க வெளியில் அது வாங்கிக்கலாம். தேங்க்யூ.
I think today has been a day of lots of firsts and discoveries for me. I think before Deepaji spoke for 1 hour, I felt exactly how my audience feels. You feel the passion, you feel everything, lekin samajh mein kuch nahi aata. And it's like, I've always felt that, and for me, because we are talking about documentary and everything, I think we are, and I have often thought about these things, is why I'm saying this, that I think we are a country that's unfortunate in a way that our cinema, our taste in cinema and art and culture and everything has completely been corrupted by the control of the government over it. I think I have had this mortal fear of documentaries for the longest time. I had. Because my idea of documentary was what I saw on television, I was forced to see on television, on Doordarshan days. And documentaries to me was that horror film that I would not go and watch. And that fear went away only, I think, in the early 2000, 2001. Till then, after I was in the business, even after that I would not watch a documentary. And it ended with watching a documentary when I was researching for Black Friday, and then I found a lot of material which was there with Final Solutions, the film that came out. I saw Final Solutions, I bought so many copies of it. I never thought that I would sit through a documentary, and not just sat through it, I saw it twice, and the way it affected me. And that fear went away, and after started watching documentaries, I realized, it's like, documentary is the only form that actually probes and investigates into what is and tells us what can be. And that's something that we don't do with cinema. A lot of us filmmakers, including me, everyone, when we make movies, it's a lot about ourselves. It comes from a point of what we feel about certain thing. It comes from a point of, the feeling is more about ourselves and how we kind of, a point of origin always is a certain narcissism. But the documentary comes from compassion. It actually comes from compassion. I've seen and met a lot of documentary filmmakers since, and they actually feel for the subject. And many a times, and most documentary filmmakers I've seen, when they're impacted or affected by something and they make the film in order to understand it better. A lot of great documentaries have come out, and in the process of making the film, they have found their answers and things, and which is why I think it's a great exercise. And today is much more easier with the cameras and digital cameras that we have. You can actually pick it up and go out and probe things. and it's unfortunate that it's a big fight because we are scared. Similarly, we are also scared of animation film because till date we call it cartoon films. Even Disney's movies don't work in India because we just think it's my 15-year-old will say, Papa, I don't watch cartoons. So no, it's like it's these things that are inculcated in us, and there's this mortal fear that the government has always had. Matlab, we are the only country where we are afraid to give surnames to our characters. We cannot name people who are alive. It's also my first award function which is not posthumous, you know. So, and I've never seen something like that. So which is why I'm saying, if somebody is alive and you're making a film, you can't make a film on them. You cannot. I have faced some very inane censor board battles, which I still don't understand. Because in Panch, I remember when Panch was banned, and I clearly remember Natty's first film, my first film, Panch. And I always carry my bag. I still did carry my bag. You know, I can't separate myself from my bag because it has all my scripts, all my ideas, everything is all in the bag. You take my bag away and I'll die. So I always carry it. So I walked into the censor board room with my bag, and I was young and I was jumpy and I had restless energy. And they all just looked at me after watching Panch and they thought that I'm some kind of a rich brat who found his dad's money and made this film. So they just looked at me, and the first question the censor board person asked me, what does cinema mean to you? I was not expecting that question. I looked at him and I said, it means a lot of things to me. What does it mean to you? And he looked at me and said, cinema means healthy entertainment. Your film is neither healthy nor entertaining. And that's where the argument started. And argument went on to the fact that I said, what is the problem with the film? He says, we don't know. We are refusing certificate for the film. He said, what, you have a masturbation scene in the film? I said, so what is wrong with it? He says, Indians don't masturbate. And I said, I do. I'm an Indian. And he was not expecting me to say that because nobody admits to doing it in his mind. I said, you know, I don't know what kind of a person are you? And that argument went on. He refused to talk to me after that. And that's how my first battle started. And I was still, I think, quite innocent then. And I went on to make Black Friday. And it was, I think, probably my naivety or innocence or whatever you may say, when we were making Black Friday, we all decided we'll shoot everything exactly the way it happened and wherever it happened. With all our problems, we had no money, we had nothing, and it's just me and Natty. We would go there, no actors, nobody, and we would figure out how are we going to take this shot. We don't have money, we can't show sky, and we shot everything like it is. And we thought that, you know, we have done a very honest film. And when we went to the censor board, the biggest problem the first time was with that film was, is it a documentary or is it a film? And I was like, no, it's a film. It says, no, but it uses documentary footage. I said, yeah, it's a film about real event. Because for them, the idea of something that is real, how can you take names of Advani? How can you say Dawood Ibrahim? How can you say Shiv Sena? How can you say Bal Thackeray? In a movie. It's a movie. And, you know, it was the most inane argument that I had. Though the film, when it went to revising committee, actually kudos to the CBFC then that they cleared the film intact. But the film did not get stuck. It finally had a court case because of his talk. But it was the strangest conversation I had where for the first time, I was literally scratching my head. I could not fathom why it can't be called a film. And that was also the same time when Dil Se was coming out and there was a dialogue which created a lot of controversy where Shah Rukh Khan says, if you're that person, then I'm Atal Bihari Vajpayee or something like that. I don't remember that. And they said you can't take the name of Prime Minister in vain. It's like how they show in old horror movies in very Christian households said don't take God's name in vain. Otherwise, you know, some ghost will appear from somewhere. It almost felt like that. So, you know, these are the kind of battles I've had with censor board. And it's always been strange. It's always been very perplexing. In the sense, I want to say, but everybody says that how do you have courage to fight? I'm like, and I always say, no, it's not about courage, really. It's like when you know something is the truth, it's easier to fight. It's actually easier to fight. And there's no need to manipulate anything. There's no need to. You just stick to your truth, and there's no way they can beat you. Because they try to divert you from your truth. That's all they do. That's all they know. And problem is, we also live in a country where from our childhood, it's been ingrained in us that what makes you uncomfortable must be bad, so must not be done. And that's something that we need to get over. It's like if a child will ask the parent, the mother or the father, any question, an 8-year-old asks a question about sex, the parents get very uncomfortable. And the first thing they say is, where did you learn that? And they reprimand the child. I'm saying that's where you are putting that same psyche into the kid. The psyche that we grow up and we tend to face and fight. We have been taught that. I've seen this with when Devdi, I wanted to write that sequence where Paro comes back to meet Dev after a long time, and I did not want it to be a man's point of view. So I was sitting with my mother and trying to tell her, and my mother is very conservative, and I would tell, would he do this? Would she do that? Would she do that? And every time my mother would look at me like this, I knew she was shocked. And every time she continued doing what she was doing, I mean, she's like, kind of, okay, I would do that. And that's how I wrote my whole scene, because she did not say a word. So, and it's like all these things, and I realized that how much uncomfortable my own family, my parents would become around various things. Anything to do with sex, anything to do with subject matters that we must not or should not talk about it. I come from a very small town, grew up in a very conservative household. After watching my film, my parents' reaction was, my mom particularly asked me, she says, Meda, you're so simple and we come from, how did you become this man? And I sat down and I talked to her, and there's a lot of things that they can't deal with. And my whole idea and the reason I wanted to make these films, a lot of people think that I'm this very dark person, and when they meet me, they realize that I'm not, and they get very shocked. I said, why does it have to be that the films that I'm making has to be me as a person? These things bother me, and I've always wanted to do that thing because from my childhood, I've always been discouraged to speak about things. I went through long years of sexual abuse, and there was no one who wanted to talk about it. And that made me angry and angry and angry and angry till one day it kind of burst out. And I talked about it. And I said, I will talk about it. Right from the beginning, I spoke about it openly. I come from a lot of things. Listen, I wrote my first poem when I was in class 10th. And my school refused to publish it because it was a poem about a boy contemplating death. It was a poem. It was a state of mind I was going through at the age of 10 in a boarding school where I was an engineer's child in a boarding school full of rich kids. And I had lots of questions in my head. And I would not find anyone to talk to, so I put it out as a poem and put it for the school review magazine. They called a psychiatrist, they called my parents, everybody, it became a big thing. And they refused to publish it. I wrote a short story, my school magazine refused to publish it. The amount of discouragement they give you because you are talking about things, because you would much rather write a story about a tree or something else than what you want to write about. I wrote a short story about a child who plans an elaborate revenge from his bully around Imli ka ped, about how he always misses hitting the Imli, and you realize he's been practicing the same thing. He's been practicing how to miss it, so he hits the guy who's coming out, and people get used to him, constantly missing it. No, in spite of winning all the essay writing competitions in school, my stories never got published in school. And that was my biggest discouragement to write. So, having gone through all those things, I realized that, all your life, they don't want you to ask that uncomfortable question. And it's not just about my school or censor board. I've seen it in every aspect, every strata of society. It's not just in villages, it's in the cities, it's in your colleges, it's in your school, it's everywhere. It will come from the most educated man that you know. Because nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. And that is something that I think we have to fight. And that is something you can do actually through documentaries. And documentaries, trust me, today are far more interesting and dramatic and suspenseful than fiction films. If you go out and discover, my house is full of it. There's every documentary that I know that comes out on DVD or Blu-ray is available, I buy it. And I see it over and it's whether it's about food, it's about environment. There's every kind of a social, economical, political, socio-economical, socio-political, environmental discourse that is existent in a documentary film and is being put out there. I'm saying 20 years from now, when we'll look back in time to understand a time period, we'll actually look at documentary films. We'll understand the world that we left behind through the documentary films. Because the very fact is it's called a documentary film, it documents the time, it documents everything that needs to be documented. And there's so much more that we understand about the world from them. And it's unfortunate that we don't release them in theaters. It's unfortunate. We have tried to do that. We have tried to put out documentaries in theater. I put in my own money. We have done all that thing. And there was a hope because World Before Her actually succeeded. It actually worked. Kathiawar did not work. But seeing one documentary work, it actually allows you to push for more. But our exhibition centers, places, they always discourage you from doing that. Because everybody only just wants to make money. And the thing is, what they don't realize is that documentary films can make money if done intelligently and given that kind of a space. Everywhere in the world, cinema has changed. Cinema has become a revenue generator with a lot of support from the center, from the government. You used to go from Korea to Europe to everywhere. We are the only country where cinema somewhere is the last priority. We are actually bhands. Government looks at us as bhands. Our job is to entertain and just, nothing more than that. We are not given more responsibility than that. We are not expected to do more than that. And that's why they get very surprised when somebody has an opinion. But I'm saying that is something that is very important that we fight. And we fight it in our own ways. We have to fight individually. I'm saying problem is that we keep waiting for someone else. And if we don't start doing this individually, it is not going to happen. It's something that I see here. I see there is a kind of a film society thing alive in India, which is Tamil Studio. I was not aware of it until last month. I was not aware of a lot of things. Today, also I discovered another filmmaker, another writer, Perumal Murugan, and I got 2 of his books. I bought 2 of his books, and I got to know that 2 more that are translated by Geeta. So it's just like today, I have a lot of firsts I'm going through. I had actually no idea of. I thought I watch a lot of Tamil films, and today I feel I don't really know a lot of Tamil films before 1998. It started with Setu. So, thank you for having me here and thank you for all the information. I think there will be long discussions about what all that was spoken here and I did not understand. I'm hoping to find that out. Thank you so much. Thank you.